Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my review of, I'm not even sure. I just got caught up on two shows. So I'm caught up on PICARD, and I'm caught up on Clone Wars Season 7. So it's like 3 episodes of Season 7, and I think I haven't done the last 2 or 3 episodes of PICARD. So that right there should be enough of a review of how both of these shows are. These are franchises I either liked, Star Trek Next Generation, or loved the 3D Clone Wars animated TV show, and they're back, and it's high quality, and I'll get to it. I'll get to it when I get to it. PICARD is nearing the end. It's episode 7, and the show has gotten better? Yeah, better. Honestly, I usually watch it while drinking, and I don't even finish an entire episode, so it's like over 3 non-consecutive days of watching 20 minutes at a time drinking. But it's picking up, and it seems to be building to something. That's the best thing I can say about it. When you had the first 3 episodes and they weren't even in space yet, and then they're like, we must get to, can we do a detour? And then like another detour. You're like, what is this? This definitely looks like it's culminating. It looks like we're going to get some answers on the lead character, his name, Soji. And it looks like, we got to see some satisfying Deep Space Nine member berries. Not really member berries. It was an actual story with 7 of 9. And then this one, we got to see Riker and Troy, and spoiler, their daughter. So I did see episode 6, but all I remember is Soji walking through a maze, which just looked like a lounge with some things on the ground. But the Vulcan Romulan guy tricked her into revealing the home. Oh, there was a cool freaky scene where she was flashing back on her memories, and she was actually looking at herself like disassembled in like a wooden doll. So that was actually really freaking cool. That was really worth the price of admission, just that one shot. Besides that, boy, I don't remember anything else from that episode. Oh no, they got onto the Borg cube, and then the ninja, who I always think of as like the Star Trek version of Shatterstar. He got to do some ninja moves, and then he stayed behind, and they have a Stargate or something like that on the Borg cube. You can teleport anywhere in the universe. So why did... Wait. I'm sorry. I know we did transwarp beaming, but now we just have a Stargate that just goes anywhere in the Star Trek universe. So why are there ships? Is it just fun? Is it just to get away? Like, you have to do chores? Like, you're stationed off of Earth, and you go explore some... and you're back like in a week, and you got all these chores piled up. I guess a starship is like a good way to get out of chores. You're like, I'm not going to be able to clean the rain gutters because I'm going to be on a 5-year mission. And then they just got to kind of deal with it. It was absolutely not a member berries when they went to go see Riker and Troy. They had to go to someplace they felt safe. I believe it was a planet called Nepenthe. And then there was some actual story there. That being said, Critical Drinker has really opened my eyes to something that seems to be mandatory in every single episode of this show. At some point, a male character, usually the lead, is just going to get lectured for like a straight up full minute of screen time. And I would have never noticed this if the Critical Drinker had not pointed out. The male character never responds. He never clapbacks. He never clarifies. He never provides context. He never is like, who the hell are you talking to? I'm some freaking admiral. Like, get the hell out of my face. Go away. Like, everyone just takes it. And the thing that PICARD gets lectured for a full minute by Troy for is his tone that he used with the woman that he crossed the galaxy to rescue, even though he never met her. Yeah, that's what he was like. He was completely not legitimate to lecture this old man in front of others because he was a little brusque with the woman that he risked his life to go save, even though he never met her, even though he barely knew her twin sister, who he tried to help as well. Very helpful guy. He's always helping people, the Romulans and refugees, and everyone's treating him like shit. This should be like his villain origin. It's like he's like, the actor's like, what, 78, but the character's supposed to be like 10, 12 years older, so he's like 90. It's like, yeah, it's like Picard sees, like, the wrath of Picard. The wrath of Jean-Luc. I mean, everyone just pushes buttons and be an asshole to him. And then you also notice things like Riker's the one who's cooking, and he's very, like, motherly. And, like, I'm noticing some stuff right here. But I really liked, the character interactions are just fantastic. These are some, actors who are obviously very close. I more precisely maybe grown close. I used to read all the the making of and the behind the scenes when the show was out, and I guess Patrick Stewart was a bit standoffish for a lot of the seasons. I think he kind of grew closer to them during filming the movies and then conventions and stuff like that. But it's really nice to see like this familial I don't know, not really father-son. Yeah, I would say they're brothers, older brother, younger brother kind of relationship with Picard, and then obviously with Troy, like a sister, and it was very nice. In fact, I might actually rewatch that entire episode just because it was such a nice feeling. They introduced the daughter, who at first might seem a little bit cloying and on the nose, but then there's some actual tragedy. The Rikers, or whatever, the Riker Troys, I don't know what the last name of the daughter is. There's been some tragedy. They lost a son, and they really don't explain that much. Maybe setting something up for season 2. I'm totally down for that. Honestly, I would really love to see Riker and Troy more in season 2 and 7 of 9. They're all great. And I actually really don't care about bringing anyone else back. Did Denise Crosby, when they had like her Romulan half sister who looked just like her, did that character die? I was so into that storyline. A couple of years ago, I rewatched all of Next Gen, and that one was like, I did not remember that storyline being that awesome. Yeah, it's silly, but it's like, no, she dies. She dies? Can anyone get Mike Stoklasa on the phone? So I'm generally happy with Picard. I am. And one of the things I like about it is he's the actor's 80, the character's 90, and he acts like an old man. He's not doing karate and blasting everyone. When the action, he just kind of sits back like, I got like no upper body strength at all. My muscles are like pudding. But it's really cool. There's a cool point where Picard basically says, don't bet against me. Like, I'm gonna come through. I'm the guy who comes through, 10 times out of 10. So, trust me, I'm gonna make this happen. And that was really awesome, and it was very well done by Patrick Stewart. Clone Wars, oh man. Whew. So like I said, I've always liked Star Trek. I don't really love it. But I love Clone Wars. Like, I think it launched, I think I first saw it on like mid-deployment leave from Afghanistan. Either that, I think I saw an episode, and then I started watching more of them when I came back. And I was like into that show. You don't understand how many times I watched every single episode. I basically kept cable, which I could not afford back then. It was like the height of the recession, the depth of the recession, I guess you should say. And I did rent the DVDs and just watch all the makings of. I got the making of book, which I still haven't opened just because I like revere at least the first few seasons a lot. And then for some reason, I think there was a break, and then they did the 6th season, and I never saw that one. By that time, I had not had cable for years, and I think you might have had to pay for, I don't even know how, was it on Cartoon Network? For some reason, I didn't see it. I think it was because just my memories of the first, 4 or 5 seasons were so good. I was like, it can't live up to it. It can't. And I'm watching episode 7, and like I said, I haven't watched most of those episodes in 10 plus years. Probably about 10 years. And this is just not living up. So the first 3 episodes are just this new group called the Bad Batch, which are the most individualistic clones ever in the history of cloning. There's literally no point for them to be clones. They don't even look like they're descended from the same person. They all have super cartoonishly individualistic armor and weapons, and it's Clone Wars, and everyone's so different. It's like just silly. But then it kind of doesn't matter. They just kind of blast everything. I do not like this first 3 issues. It was first of all, it seemed cheap. I was briefly a 3D animator, so I know all the ways that you cut corners and you cut budget for 3D animation, and I'm seeing a lot of that. You introduce 5 characters, and that's basically it for 3 episodes. You have a very, very simple kind of like this industrial complex. It's just the same building like 6 times, and it's surrounded by a sandstorm, so you don't have to do the clipping planes. Just everything just disappears into the. And now it is kind of expensive and time consuming to do atmospherics like snowstorm, or a sandstorm. Honestly, I didn't even think the sandstorm looked that great. It's basically just scene after scene of the Bad Batch and some clones, and Anakin just come around a corner, easily shoot 5 droids, and that's like repeat that like in like 20 or 30 scenes. There's some subtle little hints, but they're not that subtle. Echo has probably been turned somehow. He might actually, maybe he's like a clone made to look like a human. It all seems very tired. Originally I thought they had stopped production, and then some people told me like, no, they actually wrote these episodes years ago. They did the animatics, which is like a simplified kind of like plan version of full animation. And you'll hit like the keyframes, the key poses, and you get all the composition, the placement of where the models will be. But it's not fully rendered. It's not fully animated. There's no like matching of the voice tracks to the lips or anything like that. But it's not good, man. It's just really generic. And if this was what season 7 was always going to be, and it's, as I've been told, they're just going off the scripts. They've made a couple minor changes, some for political correctness, some for just things are kind of different right now, which I guess is kind of the same thing. But no, man, like this is like, I would not have given a thumbs up to budget this. I was like, there's nothing original here. Like, you're not really doing anything, and you're also kind of breaking the concept. It's Clone Wars. They're supposed to be clones. I know you introduce all these differences, but there were subtle differences. You'd have like 5s, and you'd have a handprint on them, with 5 fingers. Like, and they had tiny little differences in their personalities, their hairstyles and stuff like that, but they were still clones. Like this one, like one guy, they don't even look like they're related. They look like 5 strangers, and like I said, the action was very repetitive. There was no stakes. There was no danger. The only part where I perked up at all is at one point they have to go from one tower to another, and they have to go over this tube, and it's very precarious, and a lot of the characters in the Bad Batch show fear. So I was like, oh, like, this is a basic human thing, the fear of falling. This actually happened in Afghanistan one time. One time we were, we went out on an op, and we were in this village we had never been to before, and one time we had to cross kind of like a dam with like a little waterfall. And there was no bridge. It was just like the top of the dam. And the top of the dam was like 2 feet wide. And you might say, oh, that's not so bad. But it's like a 50 feet fall, and you don't know what's in that water. And there's no way to get, like, it was just like, all right, big boy rules. What do you do? Just don't fall. That's a number 1 rule. Don't fall. So that part was pretty cool. There was kind of a cool bit with some flying, I don't know, like dragons, giant bats. And then there was actually some cool Jedi action at the end, but most of it was very generic. This was absolutely not 3 episodes worth of story. It was honestly 1. You could have done all of this in 1, maybe 2 padded. 3 was ridiculous, and it was just boring. And the environments, like, there was no contrast. A lot of it was just like muddy brown or just really just uninspired. I heard. Oh, and so the 3D models are a little different. The animation is different. One of the animation style in the earlier, it's kind of, they did a lot of like moving holds. Moving holds is almost kind of like a freeze tag thing, where you'll like you'll be in one pose and then you'll quickly move to another pose, and there will be secondary and third like animation. And it's not just like you're letting the computer do everything, but it had a very distinct like staccato style, and this is just all generic. I was even wondering if some of it was motion capture, because there was no style to the animation. By that I mean the movement of the characters, and so the models seem to be some of the like Cody and Rex look the same. Anakin he just has longer hair. I guess they're saying it's getting closer to Revenge of the Sith. It did look like it was like a totally different, well, not a totally different, but a different and subtly changed Obi-Wan head sculpt. Besides that, yeah, just it's a thumbs down. It's just like a straight up thumbs down. Like, no, this was not worth the time. It's completely uninspired. I wouldn't call it lazy, but they're cutting corners. There's just no reason for these 3 issues, or these 3 episodes. So I called these both Sci-Fi by committee. And the Star Trek, or the Star Wars, definitely, Clone Wars, definitely. There, you know how you watch The Mandalorian and there was some like parts that really like would really sing, and they were very like focused. There's no focus here. It literally feels like you just handed 3 hit these plots and you can't wrap it up too quick. So it's very uninspired. The PICARD is a different type of writing by committee. It's obviously written by different people. I mean, different scenes have completely different writing styles. But also it feels like they have to like there's one SJW, it's like, we need to talk about toxic misogyny, or toxic masculinity. So then like you're gonna have a man be lectured all the time. I was actually surprised in episode 7, Rios and Raffi are, manning the ship. I'm sorry, personing the ship. And, they're kind of freaking out, and they're arguing because they're scared. There's a Romulan ship that has superior capabilities, and it's not there. But the funny thing is that by arguing, it's equals. Whereas everything else, it's the woman as superior, the woman as adult, the man as inferior, the man as child, even as 90 years old, just being lectured and just hanging their head. So I'm definitely liking PICARD, and I feel like it's getting better. But oh boy, this Clone Wars is I mean, I'm gonna watch the next one, but no, it's not good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.